Can the right to vote be suspended? Has it come to ECI versus democracy? What are the questions that Supreme Court has asked on doubtful voters, and what are the answers that ECI needs to give? Is doubt enough to silence a voter? The recent hearing by Supreme Court has put up questions on the powers of ECI, and now it is under constitutional scrutiny. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to talk about an important hearing from Supreme Court's end, which is raising questions about the electoral powers at the end of ECI and how they must be used. So let us try to understand that what exactly is happening here. So the Supreme Court has gone ahead and directly questioned the Election Commission and the kind of power they hold in terms of deleting the doubtful voters. Now, this issue came up during the hearing of Special Intensive Revision of Electoral Rolls, which is ongoing in multiple states, and when it began last year in Bihar, it created waves of controversy. Can you tell me in the comment section in which states we are seeing Special Intensive Revision as of now? Now, this particular question was raised by a divisional bench. That means it constituted of two Supreme Court judges. Which included CGI Suryakant, and it also included Justice Joymala Bagchi. Now, when we are talking about this key question that has been raised, the main question, let me explain to you what it has been. Because when this special intensive revision exercise is happening, whenever there are doubtful voters, they are being removed by Election Commission of India. Now, in this context, Supreme Court has asked, does this give us a right, even if it is not decided where the citizenship lies? If there is just doubt, there is no finality, and the finality will come from the union government's end because that is their jurisdiction. So, if there is doubt, then can actually Election Commission of India and go ahead and delete them from electoral rolls and take away their right to vote? So, this question has been asked, and in this context, this gives us a clear preview. This will serve as a case study also in understanding not just the powers at the end of ECI, but how constitutional scrutiny is very important, and also how the right of an individual needs to be balanced with the electoral powers and the administration that is taken place. Now, before we understand that what exactly is happening in simpler terms, let us start with understanding that what exactly is special intensive revision. So, when we are talking about special intensive revision, it is basically a verification that is done by Election Commission of India of the electoral rolls. The whole idea of doing this intensive revision is to ensure if there are any duplicate entries, if there are any old entries, and if there are any dead or ineligible voters, they are removed, and this ensures that whenever we are conducting elections or elections are happening, the accuracy as well as purity of the voter list is maintained so as to ensure that the elections are properly and fairly conducted. So, whenever this verification happens, it includes multiple aspects, criteria such as age, such as where the residence is, and also the citizenship status. Now, during SIR, we have seen that some individuals have been classified as doubtful voters because there has been no clarity on the citizenship status. And in this very context, we have seen this particular ask or this particular question by Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court is saying ki let's just say if there is an electoral registration officer and he has decided that the citizenship status is not clear and he has taken out the person's name from the electoral roll after an inquisitorial inquiry, then this needs to be referred to the center, so that the center can decide that what is the citizenship status and what is the right of that person to either remain in the country or to be deported. But till the time there is this doubt present that if he is the citizen or not, can we take away the right? Is it right thing to do? because this will jeopardize the rights of multiple individuals in this very scenario. So this is exactly what Supreme Court has just asked as of now. Now in this context, we also need to understand that what are the powers at the end of Election Commission of India, because if Election Commission of India is going out and striking out names, they must have some constitutional, some legal backing to actually do it. So yes, Election Commission of India has also put ahead that what legal backing or what exactly is their position. So when we are talking about the arguments from Election Commission of India, we have seen they have gone for multiple dimensions coming from not just Constitution but Representation of People Act also. So based on Article 326, of our Constitution, which ensures adult suffrage, that means the voting right for every citizen above the age of 18, that has also been quoted here and said that it cannot be altered. Why? It cannot be altered by an act of parliament. And this is where they have said that when we are looking at the sections of Representation of People Act, they must be understood in the light of Article 326 and operate only to give effect to it. So here we get to see they are talking about what powers they have in order to ensure a fair election. And that is where they have also quoted Representation of People Act and multiple sections around it, where they said if they are submitting to the parliament that has enacted a detailed mechanism to verify the issues and decide the issues related to citizenship that arise in the context of election. That means they have a proper procedure already laid out for them through RP Act, and that is why they have the jurisdiction not to only conduct inquisitorial inquiries but also at the same time decide that who will stay in the electoral roll or not. So this gives the power to electoral representative officer that if there is any doubt, they can remove his name. And they have also given a further analogy. They have compared it to the Mines and Minerals Regulation and Development Act of 1957, where mining leases are given by the authorities based on citizenship. So who determines the citizenship? Those authorities. So if the mining authorities get to do that, so ECI should also get to do that, and they don't need to wait for a final say from the central government. So that is what has been explained from ECI's end. But the other end is different here. We got to know that what ECI is claiming here. So we have a fair clarity on that. Now we will be moving to the next part here. And here we will be understanding that what are the other dimensions. But rather they have further asked a few questions that yes, you have the authority. They have acknowledged that yes, ECI can verify the eligibility. But if the citizenship is doubted, let's just say ECI decided this person is doubtful, the citizenship is not sure, okay, it is in questionable place, electoral rolls, name has been removed. But if the citizenship is in question and that has been referred to the center, that means that has been referred, the final decision will be coming from here. And till that time, is it right to take away the right to vote from that particular citizen? Now we have understood Election Commission of India's perspective. Now let us try to move on the other side and understand the perspective from the angle of personal rights here. So here we get to see that ECI might be overstepping by effectively declining citizenship, where they are giving a finality to their doubt. And it is also raising that a temporary administrative doubt is leading to suspension of voting rights. So here we get to see that the presumption is where in favor of rights, and because the final authority is central government in terms of citizenship law, before the final agreement comes from there, how can ECI overstep and suspend a voting right? because we get to see that there are directly constitutional dimensions and rights which are involved. When we are talking about Article 326, which talks about adult suffrage, it guarantees voting rights to every citizen above 18 years. It ensures that a citizen is a gateway condition, but the determination key, if the person is citizen or not, that will be based on Citizenship Act that will be enacted by the union government. Furthermore, we also get to see here that there is the constitutional dimension related to separation of powers also involved, because when we are talking about citizenship determination, that is with executive, that means union government gets to do it, and then the electoral management, that is an independent constitutional body, that is Election Commission of India, and this is also a question about institutional boundaries. It is not just about rights being suspended, but also where the institutional boundaries are to be drawn. And furthermore, another important constitutional dimension about the due process and natural justice also comes into the picture, because before the final decision coming in by the central government, if we are doing the removal, that means this is an arbitrary exclusion that is happening for the voter, and it is violation of a due process. That means a procedure that has been established, and the fairness that comes from that procedure, that is also being questioned. So at the same time, when we are talking about dimensions related to ECI and when we are talking about dimensions related to constitution, that also need to be studied to understand the case on the full context. And the reason we are talking about this, because this is an important factor for our democracy. This case holds immense importance for our democracy, because voting is the most basic, most fundamental foundation of the representative democracy that India is. And if we are taking away the voting rights temporarily even, then it is permanently affecting the election outcomes. That means there will be risks and vulnerability associated with migrants, poor and marginalized community, and document deficient citizens. The most vulnerable ones will get no representation. They will not get to voice, they will not get to choose their own representatives, and this highlights a very clear dilemma in front of us, that if we want electoral integrity, then we also have to ensure democratic inclusion. So when we are talking about electoral integrity, that we are doing through SIR, but that doesn't mean that we compromise on the inclusion. We have to ensure that illegal voting should not happen, but at the same time, we cannot silence the actual genuine citizens who have their right to vote in front of them. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. As of now, the final say on this matter by Supreme Court has not come out, but if Supreme Court supports Election Commission of India, we might get to see faster clearing of electoral rolls, very strong administration control, but with a very huge risk of wrongful disenfranchisement. That means the voting rights of many genuine citizens might be at a questionable place. If Supreme Court goes against ECI, then the voting rights will be protected and a final decision based on citizenship will be taken. That means there will be a greater emphasis on rights over efficiency. There might be administrative delays, but the fundamentals of democracy will be restored. But the decision where Supreme Court lands is very important, because that will decide that how the future voter verification exercise will take place, how citizens related electoral disputes would be managed in the coming time. Now that was all from my side. Thank you so much.